Well, hello there, friends, and thank you for joining us again for this ministry moment. It's good to have you with us, and I hope that God will bless these messages in your life. We also want you to remember that we do have a worship service here at our church, Sunday mornings, 10:45, and you can watch that on your computer, on your phone. It is on YouTube and also on Facebook. This morning I wanted to talk about a very strange subject because it doesn't seem to have anything to do with our Christian faith and our walk with the Lord. I wanted to talk about slobbery, slobs. Probably just about all of us have suffered from the malady of slobbery at some time or other. It really comes a lot of times to the bachelor or the bachelorette. Because when we live by ourselves, we think, why am I keeping this place up? Isn't a floor as good as a closet? Well, you can answer that for yourself. Personally, I think no is the right answer. Well, Max Lucado, who is a very famous Christian author, pastor, and writer, tells the story of a man who was a complete slob. And people told him, you're too messy. You need to get your act together. And he agreed. But he had arguments that supported his slobness. He said, why do I have to make my bed when nobody sees it? And I used to use the same argument. But then he got married, and his wife was determined to convert him. She didn't mind his habits if he didn't mind sleeping on the couch. Well, he did mind. So he made a vow that he is going to stop his messy behavior. He enrolled in a 12-step program for slobs. I have never heard of such a thing, and I suspect our leg is being pulled just a little bit slightly there, but you get the point. He had a physical therapist come to, he was a friend. He came to the house and he helped him rediscover the muscles that were used for hanging up shorts hanging up shirts and placing toilet paper on the holder. His nose was reintroduced to the smell of cleaner. But then came the moment of truth. His wife would be gone for a week, 7 days, and he was by himself again. Well, at first he reverted to his old ways. He said, I'll just be a slob because it's easier than not for 6 days, and then I will clean on the 7th. But something strange had happened to him in the middle of all of this cajoling and all of this training. He discovered that he no longer liked having dirty dishes in the sink for day after day after day. He discovered that he really didn't want to throw clothes on the floor. It bothered him. And that had never happened before. He had gotten used to a different way of living. If this was a theological conversation instead of a conversation about being a slob, we might even say that he was confessing his sins, repenting, and finding a new lifestyle. Well, I know that may sound a little strange, and indeed the whole story sounds a little bit strange. If you've been a slob, though, you know what he's talking about. But it's not so far off from our Christian walk with the Lord. Think about it. We have some type of behavior that is not pleasing to God. It can be as different as different people, but it always ends up the same way. It keeps us from having a relationship with God. And so we admit it to ourselves and to others. That's the same as confession. And for a while, it's difficult to keep from going back. But the more we try, the easier it becomes. And this new lifestyle becomes easier and easier. Actually, we allow the Holy Spirit to come into our lives and help mold us a little at a time, one day at a time. During this Advent season, if we find ourselves in such a shape that we need to get right with God, this is a good time to do it. To recognize it, to confess it to God, to allow him to shape us. And let's not forget that it helps a lot to have good friends, Christian friends, read the scriptures, go to church, pray, receive communion, and study the scriptures. It's that way that we get over the sinful habits, as well as getting over silly habits like being a slob. I hope you have a blessed weekend. We came on a little early this week because other things take our time tomorrow. So we'll see you next week, and we hope to see you on Sunday. Have a blessed